Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Morning, Nigeria. Good morning, world. You're welcome to Morning Spring today. Today, Monday, 18th or 19th?
18th.
18th of March 2024, after the death of our Lord. I am Femi and I welcome you to today's program where we look into very critical topics, matters, issues of public importance. We critique, we analyze, we have different angles to these issues, speaking to different people and policy makers. That's what we do here at this time. And that's the first one for this week. Thank you for joining us on this station of choice of yours, Channel 190 and Star Times TTT, and also on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Today is a packed one, bumper one. And so, once again, bonjour, good morning, Evelyn, good morning.
How are you doing, Femi? Good morning, people. Thank you so much for joining us. It is Monday. Yes, the weekend, went so fast. I can say it flew, but then we are here to give it another shot. Fresh opportunity given to us this new week to make it count. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei, and I am urging you this week to go for gold.
Go for gold. Only gold is good enough. Okay, if there's anything after gold,
you can go for diamond.
It's still gold. Okay, thank you. On the program, we usually look at the headlines that are seen in our major dailies every day. And after that, we then get talking. And today is about what is going on in town. The news that we got on Friday or thereabout, but, really became very known during the early hours of Saturday, of the dastardly act of some scrupulous elements, who attacked and killed gruesomely, 16 officers and men of the Nigerian Army who are just responding, to a distress call of, of a fracas between two communities, and as Okwama and Okuloba, all in the Ugeli South local government of Delta State, are having issues, land border issues. And then the men of the Nigerian Army were called and actively, they swung into action and went to the community only for them to be ambushed by some scrupulous elements. It's what's supposed to be like a mediation, just to intervene and call for peace between these communities, end up being a bloodbath. And 16 officers, gallant officers, and men of the Nigerian Army were not to appear or paint a scenario of what was really bad. They were killed in a manner that looked like two savages having issues at one another. That's what we are seeing at this time.
Yeah, it's not a good situation at all, especially in the manner at which these officers were killed. And of course, people have called for investigations into this gruesome murder of our gallant soldiers. And just days after, we saw the reprisal attacks in that communities, and also people have called for calm, both also from the army side, from the side of the army, and also from the side of the people. A reprisal attack is not what we should be, clamoring for at this time. When I went on social media, I saw tweets of people say, "How dare you kill our soldiers? The village should be leveled down," and all of that. But then, just like what the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, tweeted when he got that reprisal attack, is that two wrongs do not make a right. Yeah. Yes, they have done wrong, but the right thing to do is actually to investigate and ensure that the people who have perpetrated this act are the ones that are to pay, not innocent people, because they are residents of that community. But then our sympathy and our condolences goes to the families of those soldiers that were killed in that attack. We hope that God gives them the, fortitude to bear this irreparable loss.
Yes, irreparable, really. Just like my colleague said, from all of us here, this Morning Spring set, and all of us here at Western Spring Television, I want to condole with the family of these slain, gruesomely slain officers and men of the Nigerian Army, especially the Nigerian Army as an institution, the Nigerian military and the Nigerian government as well. That wasn't well done. You know why? Well, I agree totally that calm in any way that it can be done should be applied. Caution in this particular matter, because innocent will just suffer, for the action of a few criminals who have done this. That's what they are, criminals. I want that kind of message they are sending, you attack them, you kill them, that's not enough. You disembowel them, you cut off their head. And these are the issues as well. We must state it here that if these things are to be at the other side, it will have to be reversed. We, people, are still the one that will be denigrating, giving knocks to the Nigerian Army, for attacking civilians. And now that is the other way around, we must state it there as well. And all international bodies, people that will usually come out and, speak down on the institution, if actually some of their men goes wrong to do what is wrong, they should come out at this time as well, to give culpability to where it really belongs. We'll talk on this matter, in the full course of the program. But right now, we'll go on this break. And when we'll come back, get straight to what the papers are saying. It's Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. All right, talking about what the papers are saying, let me start with the Vanguard. The Vanguard today has this bold headline: Delta killings. Troops lay siege to Okwama, raise more houses. That's what my colleague was talking about. This personal attack, there is no way it could be commensurate with what has happened at all. Now, a couple of headlines there. Let me read it out. Outrage trails murder soldiers. Military deploys armored vehicles to Bomadi creeks. Have authorized military to fish out perpetrators. That's coming from Tinubu. It is barbaric, unacceptable, it will be. It is despicable, Governor Breweri, that's Delta State Governor. Act totally unacceptable. That's coming from Pandef. Officers' sacrifices shall not be in vain. Northern Senators tell CDS. Robo Group urges probe. Ijaw youths condemn killings. And the picture there has UTM FLNG boss visit NCDMB. Moving on from that, how federal government funds petrol subsidy through crude sales proceeds. Ondo 2024, APC leaders kick against commercialization of Guba primary. And Nigeria tightens grip on second spot in medals table as the African Games going on. The Nigeria contingent have been doing well so far. Lagos residents storm food mart amid complaints. Devolving more powers to state will bring socio-economic development. Top strip, insecurity hampering food security. Catholic bishops, farmers raise alarm. Edo Guba, APC to unveil deputy governor candidate today. And why it is difficult to market Nigeria globally. That's coming from Obongata. Obongata is former Akwa Ibom State governor. At this point, I'd like to bring in Ladeji Alabi. Ladeji, good morning.
Good morning to you, Femi.
Welcome, Ladeji.
Good morning to you.
Thank you for joining us.
Feels great to be here.
Yeah, one common headline among all the papers today, expectedly, the bloodbath, in Colombia and Okwama. So the men and officers of the Nigerian Army. And Vanguard is reporting Delta killings. Troops lay siege to Okwama, raise more houses. Outrage trails murder of soldiers. The president is saying, I've authorized military to fish out perpetrators, and everyone, every group are condemning that act. Your take on that?
Well, every right-thinking Nigerian should condemn the act. It is barbaric. It is not good. And it is not good for us as a nation that is fighting insecurity on so many fronts. It is also very bad because for me, the question that came to my mind when I saw this, it wasn't just an officer. It wasn't just maybe 2 guys in the army, more than 10 of them. It shows, and don't forget also that these guys will be going there, not just with maybe knife or whatever. They are there with their rifles. So it means it's not just some angry youth. This is done by a very fortified militant group. That's all I can pick out from this. Nigerian army are not just a guy. If it is just a single person in the army, yes, you can say, okay, he was attacked by a mob. But 15, 16 of them, in fact, a Major Daily reported about 20 of them there about yesterday. I can't confirm that. But
the defense headquarters have confirmed 16.
15 or, 5 or 10.
Or 1.
Shows it is an organized, it's a well-structured militant organization. And I feel the army should just, aside just punishing the whole community, because apparently where you have the bad guys, you have the good people too. Aside just punishing the whole community, I know they can fish out the perpetrators. They let them be brought. See, I've always been an advocate of don't forgive terrorists, because this is a terrorist act. If you are attacking a major state actor, it is a terrorist act.
An institution of the state.
An institution of the state, they have the legitimacy of the state to go there. So if you have attacked them, it's a terrorist act on the state. So when the army do their findings and get those perpetrators, please let them get punished, proper punishment. No forgiveness in this time.
All right, that's what the Vanguard is having for us.
All right, we move to Nigerian Tribune at this time. Nigerian Tribune, killing of soldiers in Delta, bring culprits to justice. Tinubu directs DHQ, CDS, says act is wicked, won't go unpunished. Delta governor, Senate condemn killing. We didn't kill soldiers, Okwama people are saying. And troops occupy community as demolition of houses continues. Mixed reaction as soldiers allegedly burned down houses in community. That story is on page 2 of Nigerian Tribune for today. Femi faults Tinubu on headers farmers clash. PDP APC stalwart mole mega party on Lagos to push for state special status. Listing of LCDAs. Residents protest over houses marked for demolition on Ibadan Circular Road. And stakeholders raise concern as Nigeria's inflation rate rises to 31.70%. Top corner of the Nigerian Tribune, the front page now. NJC raises alarm over alleged bid to defraud retired judicial officers. And lastly, from here, FG recovers 6.1 billion naira from arbitrary port charges, import-export fraud in 5 years. Saves 33.1 billion naira from demurrage freight rates. That story is on page 6. Another concerning one that I would like Ladeji to talk about this morning is our inflation rate. In January, we were just a bit close to the 30% mark. But right now, we have moved past the 30%. We are now on 31.70%, as of February. And of course, we know the projection, the CBN projected for inflation rate to come down to 24%, if I'm correct. Yeah, 24%. There. Ladeji, your thoughts? 31.70.
Well, it's sad. It's sad that beyond the rhetorics of the government, we don't magically bring inflation down if we do not show working. These things will not come down with words of mouth. Yeah. The only thing the words of your mouth can do is just to throw in, maybe panic, and a day or two you see a little change, then it will go back to the normal if we are not doing the needful. If we are borrowing to spend on frivolity, see, I've always mentioned this because that is the way we act. You've seen issues of, since last week we've been talking about padding of budget, we've been talking about series of unlisted money, stuff that are not in the budget that you've seen money is meant for. And you ask, how are we going to source for all this money? Most times we are going to borrow. Most times we do unnecessary things with all this money. These are the things that cause our inflation. We're talking about food inflation now. What are we producing? How many people in the agrarian areas, in places where they really do the farming seriously, how many people can go to farm again to say they want to go and farm? No, because of insecurity. Even the farming tools that they need. In many cases, we are talking about, advancing production of agricultural production, but here we are still doing farming as if we are in the 18th century or in the 17th century. It won't work. So beyond the rhetorics of we are bringing it down, what action have you shown to bringing it down? If we know back our words with action, then we'll just revolve it. And don't let me deceive you, Evelyn. We've not seen the last ladder, the inflation rate will be climbing. If the needful is not done, then we'll be talking about something higher next month.
All right. Thank you, Ladeji.
All right. Moving on from the Tribune to the Punch. For today, the Punch newspaper, soldiers killing. Tinubu Senate order manhunt for killers. Troops comb warring communities. President condemns attack, says defense headquarters has full authority to bring anybody responsible to justice. That's a strong statement there that could be interpreted in any way. Senate, retired generals, others fume. Demand tough actions against killers, condole with military. And the picture there, I think, is the food mart that was done at the weekend in Lagos. Onjeko, thank you. We're waiting for Onje Oshun and Onje Oyo and Onje Ekiti and the rest of them in whatever form it is doing, or it can be done rather, beg your pardon. Consumers lament POS machine shortage at Lagos discounted food market. Oh, wow, okay. Moving on. Senate once again supplementary budget, excess loans. Interesting. Abducted editor's wife cries for help, says husband easygoing. Textile imports, 7 others gulp 1.4 trillion naira after CBN ban lift. Federal government eyes $1 billion World Bank loans for IDPs and agric. Strike. SANU, NASU vow to ground varsities. Government feigns ignorance. Federal government plans talks with Ghana, others, to protect undersea cables. We all knew what happened last week. But interesting. Now let's go to the education sector. Strike. SANU, NASU are vowing to grant varsities. Government feigns ignorance. That's what the Punch is reporting.
Femi, I'm trying to look at the events in our tertiary institutions the last maybe 10 years or thereabouts. I'm not sure there has been a year where we've not, seen SANU, NASU embark on strike.
ASU.
And even ASU. It is
You're talking about the disruption.
Yes, disruption in our and when people question, oh, why are you traveling abroad to go and school? Why are you sending your kids to private university? Femi, if someone has planned his or her life that, okay, at this social age, I envisage I would have graduated from university. The next thing Nigerians will tell you is add maybe a year or 2 years of strike to it. And it is our reality, and it is sad that we found ourselves in such a terrible way and we've not really improved. I think, see, when political leaders come out, one of the reasons why I say I don't always believe politicians is if they want to buy new SUVs, Evelyn, they look for money everywhere and they get the Evelyn. Sorry, I wanted to say they get the Evelyn, but they get the SUV bought.
Yeah.
But when it comes to funding education, funding health, paying pensioners, you will hear there is paucity of fund. That's where you hear their spokesperson come out with big grammars. When are we going to get out of this terrible situation? When are we going to have a year full run, education system run through a year and there is no strike action whatsoever from anybody? When are we going to settle all this? When are we going to really fund our educational system? You will agree with me, Femi, Evelyn, that our education, our tertiary institutions, even our secondary and even our primary educations are not well funded. Just 2 weeks ago, I think I shared the pictures with you, a picture of a school in our FCT, Federal Capital Territory, where students are learning under shade. And we are talking about a place where we budget 15 billion naira to build a new apartment for the VP. We are on serious people. So I feel, I know there are excesses from ASU and these associations too, but I feel beyond this, government need to do more. We need to face squarely things that matter in our economy. Education matters, health matters, other things matters. Take care of the pensioners, they matters. The politicians should be the last on the pecking order.
Yeah, that's what the Punch has.
I feel I can relate to what Olukolade is saying. Some years ago, someone once asked my brother, where does he see himself in the next 5 years? And he said, I don't know. And I was so mad, like, at your age, you don't know where you want to be in the next 5 years. And I kept my cool after the old meeting with the person. While on our way out, I was like, why would you say you don't know where will you be in the next 5 years? And he said something that struck with me. He said, I have my plans. Nigeria has its plans. And Nigeria controls my plans. Because in the next 5 years, as you might say, I'll still be in school. So that's it. So we just hope that the government will let the students have their plans come through as and when due. Not someone who is going for a 4-year course at the end of the day spending 5 years or 6 years.
5, 6, 7.
All right, we move to the Guardian newspaper for today. The Guardian newspaper on page 6, it's reporting that internet outage, trade payment suffer as service disruption may linger till April. And we know Nigeria is not the only one affected, in this disruption. Away from that, slain soldiers, Tinubu grants military full authority to pursue justice, silent on reprisal. SANU, NASU begin nationwide strike today. Northern leaders, Serap seek probe of 3.7 trillion naira budget padding allegation. And Senate reps hold secret hearing on new student loan bill. Why secret? Katsina, Zamfara governors knocked for boycotting security meeting and cutting governance cost beyond Orosaye report. That's an editorial piece, and it's on page 16 of the Guardian newspaper today. Ladeji, I know you've spoken on what happened in Delta State over the weekend, but the Guardian reporting that Mr. President has granted the military full authority to pursue justice, and I'm sure you must have seen that statement by Mr. President yesterday. But is silence on reprisal, is it something we should be worried about? We saw what happened, the army trying to lay siege, some alleged arson, perpetrated by the members of the army, officers of the army rather. What are your thoughts on this reprisal attacks? Well,
yes, as the saying say, at least that's the title he wears. He should also advise the military. It's common that when stuff like this happens, military want to retaliate because, like I've always mentioned,
they want to send a strong message.
They want to send a strong message, and also on the part of the government, training a single military officer is not a joke. Even though we are not even taking care of them the proper way, we should be taking care of them. But I feel the president should have also let them know that, see, I'm a fan of getting the people, the finger that offends, let it get punished. Don't go and punish an elderly woman that doesn't know what happened in town. Because the moment we start raising buildings, the moment we start shooting sporadically, even the guys that did this, you may not even touch any one of them because they would have actually, went somewhere and maybe take a cover somewhere. So I feel this is where the intelligence, Department of the Military comes in. It will take them, if they want to work, Femi, it won't take Nigerian military a week to fish out these guys. Bring every one of them to book and get them properly put. I think that is the way you can send a proper signal that will go nationwide. What you are doing, if you just raise the whole community down, is a perpetrator somewhere else will just look at it. Okay, so once I'm done in this community, I move. Then it is the community that will take them. But if you bring them out, send signal to criminals somewhere else that, see, Nigerian army is capable of doing this thing. They will bring you out and you will get punished for the act. So I feel the president should have actually advised them on that. But irrespective of that, I know our military guys are very, very intelligent. I know they want to handle this with utmost care. I wish, sincerely yours, I wish those perpetrators are brought to book and openly get punished for this, act that is, I don't know what to qualify it.
It's just, you know, in your introduction, you call it barbaric. I think that's just what it is. Because
I'm looking for a more, because
word.
it is
the pictures and the videos,
painful.
we can't even
It is
hear
painful.
it.
It is painful. It is painful. You don't attack, even if they are not military guys, you don't attack people like that.
A human being, follow a human being that way. What message are you passing? And many persons have even, you know, in a kind of way, spoken about the manner in which Delta State has responded to the issue, saying they have been slow, they have been nonchalant. That is, sad act happened on Thursday night, and I think it was Saturday evening that the Delta State released a statement
It's
something in your community.
Femi, it may look like it's not attached. I saw the police PRO, Bright Edafe in Delta State yesterday, posting a picture on his Twitter and showing off, you know, his car and blah, blah. And people were asking him, the state is literally mourning. Scores of soldiers were killed in your state. This is a sister agency to your own agency. As a police PRO, you should be out there thinking of, okay, this is what the police is doing to support the army. But the best you can do is to post your own picture, quoting unnecessary quote that doesn't relate to all these things. I'm saying that because of what you just said about the way Delta State, generally undo this, and it shows the value we place on human lives. If it were to be a member of the family of the governor, Femi, a press release will be released that same day. If it were to be a member of the political class, a press release will be released that same day. But because
I have to say that because of, you know, still in the way and manner the Delta State government reacted to the matter or responded, you know, is if the situation has been the other way around. If it's the military that has come into any of those communities, Ohiolei and Okwoma, to come and, you know, attack the people of their state, people will say the Delta State government will have come out immediately to talk about the military invading their land. But now, even if these guys are military, they are still human.
I can assure you that the same way, see the value we put on people's life now. Just a few days ago, people were kidnapped, killed in Kaduna, Sokoto, and whatever. The president never deemed it fit to visit those states. But he went to Niger State the following day to go and commission an airport that was named after him. It shows the value we place on humans' life. It takes you nothing. There is a budgetary plan for the presidential flight to travel every year. So what are you doing with it? Sokoto, Kaduna to Niger State. How far are they? What's the distance? I'm not sure there is any distance you are traveling in Nigeria that will fly more than 2 hours. That's the highest you can do. Maybe 1 hour, 30 minutes. Maybe from Lagos to Borno or thereabout. Every other flight inside Nigeria is about 1 hour. So a presidential flight cannot land in maybe Kaduna, pay a condolence visit to these guys, maybe Sokoto, tell them you are, it shows empathy. So it is just a thing of our political leaders that they don't show empathy, and it is only when they are affected.
Or do you think as a people we have developed thick skin to stories like this?
Already, Evelyn, when we were growing up, when you hear someone died, it sends a strong shiver onto you. You feel like, wow, someone is dead. But now you hear people die. Well, it is what it is. Because, okay, let me ask you, while growing up on the pages of newspaper, we know the stories we read on them. But these days, Evelyn, if you are reading a major dailies, in fact, I have a lot of people that have dropped reading dailies. They don't read news again. They will tell you I'm not listening to news again. Because you can't do a bulletin without talking about people have been kidnapped, people have died. So it's already, it's more like it is part of us now.
That's a sad reality.
It is a sad reality.
It's a sad reality. And talking about Bright Edafe, the action, you know, appeared not bright on this. It wasn't bright on that.
It wasn't.
It was being tone deaf. That's what it means to be tone deaf.
Except you have something against the military.
By the way, many persons want to say Edafe is not the one who did that, you know, and we should not put our frustration.
There is something
it's
about
the sensitivity of the matter.
There is sensitivity and reading the room.
I said it. He's being tone deaf.
Yeah, reading the room. This is a sister agency that you guys should be collaborating. But, you know, another thing you will, pointer that will come out of that for you is that how collaborative are our military guys? Our security agencies.
In this tweet that we're talking about, Edafe is there, you know, in front of a car, maybe his car, you know, in front of a building. And the message on the post was, happy Sunday, friends, advisors, and most importantly, my critics. You find it hard not to...
What does that have to do with the situation on ground.
And
So
nobody
that
would say
post,
somebody of his stature, somebody of his position wouldn't have known.
In
course,
fact,
that this
I
has
think
happened.
majorly the public relations officer for the police nationally and the states needs to go for reorientation because we know what happened.
Training and retraining.
Exactly, because these people,
well, I think it is what their
insensitive.
Oga in the headquarters,
Even the
that's
FPRO
the
sometimes,
FPRO
yeah.
does that is sent to the state PRO.
The
Because
insensitivity
no apologies to
is
them,
getting
they
so
are really
deafening.
very insensitive to the plight of people, and the way they talk down on people, the way they say things to people, you get to now part of their job is to educate the public. I remember over the weekend also there was a tweet about if someone's girlfriend dies in his house, what would happen, whatever. And the Lagos State Police PR was saying, let the person die in your house first. Your eyes go see something. No, you are meant to educate that person. Benjamin, that is not burning at all.
But Ben appeared brighter among the lots, by the way.
Well,
we don't know what happened.
maybe
again.
once in a while he appears that way, but it is sad actually.
We should,
Okay.
yeah.
But then before we go, I still want to take Ladiji up on this. Northern leader Sarah seek probe of 3.7 trillion budget pardon allegation. Yes, we know what happened to Senator Ningi, and people have, come out to say when we have such whistleblowers in the Senate, what they get, their lot is to be suspended, their lot is to be silenced. So how are we going to have more of this when the Senate or the executive are not doing what they're supposed to do?
Well, a lot of people have also come out with the narrative that maybe Senator Ningi did not get a proper share of the largesse. That's why he's coming out to complain. But that aside, Evelyn, I'm also one of the advocates of don't let us trivialize this issue of budget pardon. Already we are covering it up with other events. And before you know it, our politicians have studied us very well. They know, okay, so this is happening. Let's just throw another thing at them. You'll forget what is going on. 3.7 trillion, it is not small money. That money enough is good. I mean, it is capable of at least throwing a couple of balance on our economy. But if some people are just sharing the money amongst themselves or allegedly going to share the money amongst themselves and we are not saying anything, we just say, okay, his constituency allowance, his constituency this, at times I ask myself, now look at this, if you look, there was an outline or a drop down of what a senator goes on with every month. And you look at what they have there as hazard allowance. And you cry for this country because doctors, soldiers that are on the front line, nurses, teachers that are working every day. I think during COVID-19 was when they said they were paying doctors 5,000 naira, 7,000 naira, or maybe 10,000 naira hazard allowance. These are the guys that were frontliners then. But these politicians that I can tell you for free, watch their proceedings. Many of them get on that AC. We need to reduce it in the National Assembly because many of them get to sleep there, and they take serious hazard allowance. They take, clothing allowance, wardrobe allowance, travel allowance, all these oversight allowances, and yet this country is yet to develop. And you are still, padding budget. We are buying deep freezers for women in 2024. We are buying grinding machine. We are buying Okada for our youth graduates. Evelyn, I went to a community a few weeks back. We're doing a survey, and I met a young guy, an Okada rider. This guy speaks good English. I nearly dropped crying that day because the guy said there was nothing for him to do and he cannot go into crimes. That he just needs to survive. That is what we have turned our country to. And politicians knows how to put their children, when they want to lie to the children of the poor, they will tell you there are no jobs. But their children get jobs every day. At CBN, get jobs every day at the ministry. They look at juicy places for their children. That's why I always tell Nigerian youth, don't believe there are no jobs. There are jobs, they only reserve them for their children. And that is why every right-thinking Nigerians should come out and let us condemn this act because it is affecting all of us. We are complaining about inflation rising every day. We are complaining about roads are not being done. These are not being done. They are not buying SUV for you and I for us to ply those roads, but they are buying SUV for themselves to ply those roads. You see our life is not balanced there.
All right, and we hope that we hit the calling of well-meaning Nigerians who have called on the Senate President to refer this matter to the EFCC and the ICPC.
You mean the Senate President should do what?
This issue should be investigated. It should be probed by the EFCC and ICPC because what we have heard is the suspension of
taken too far.
Why do you say that?
The same Akpabio. that was sick every now and then. I don't know the sickness he had before he became the Senate president. Have you forgotten he had the case with TFCC? And the moment he became the Senate president, the sickness vanished.
Well, you're not indicting the Senate president at this time.
What God can know. No, everybody knew he had a case with TFCC.
All right, thank you.
He was always sick.
We were talking about, you talked about hazard allowance and all this kind of allowance. I'm trying to remember one kind of allowance.
That journalists take?
No.
You guys take beating allowance. You guys are frontliners too.
Is the pride we take in saying what we discuss having an effect on the people.
You guys speak good English.
That's good, because your English sometimes doesn't pay. You know, there is this particular allowance. I think it has to do with something like poverty allowance or something. There's a way
they are poor people. We are not paying them well.
And then you want to hear how can this kind of allowance be added, you know, to these guys who are super rich, you know, to get to the Senate. It doesn't come cheap. So
yeah, sure.
And you wonder how that is one name, but it's not far from poverty allowance or something, something like that, you know, or penury or so. But it is what it is, and that's what we are looking into today. And, you know, just before we leave, there is this one still on The Guardian. It is, okay, the Sanu Nasu we talked about earlier, the strike action. You know, they gave a government ultimatum. I started today. It's starting today. And then you wonder, SANU, that's the Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, mostly non-academics. It means even if ASU is not yet on strike, how would the university community be like if the non-teaching academics, non-teaching staff are not on seat? You are talking about you can't do anything at the administrative building. Possibly the security architecture is not there. The people that will open the library, and it's almost grounded the university community to zero. That's what we're having right now.
Of course, yes.
And it has started today.
It's hard. It's hard. You get to see our youth again in the house. And if government wants to really get serious, if they read the room very well, this is not a good time for them to allow children to be back at home. Let's take our minds back memory lane.
Yeah.
During NSAS, one of those things that helped NSAS movement to galvanize very well was because students were at home then.
Yeah.
A lot of folks were at home doing nothing. So when people called for protest action, freely people went out because there was literally nothing for them to do. So if government would not be shooting itself on the foot, do the needful. Talk with ASU, talk with SANU, talk with all of them. Make sure, even beyond that, why must we disrupt our academic process every year? Why must we go on strike? That's why I don't blame people. If you can afford it, take your children to private school, because let me shock you. One of my younger younger ones, when she gained admission to a public university, something happened and they said the admission is not verified or something. So they dropped her down and she went to another school. You won't believe she has finished school, served, got married, and the people that entered the same university with her just graduated last year. It is what it is, because if someone is serious with his or her life, you want to face either going into private university or going abroad. And how many people can afford traveling abroad now? Not everybody. So the little they have, they want to concentrate. And I can tell you for free, I love people that you find in the public university now. They are just people that don't have any option. If people had the options, you would see that public universities will be deserted. But I think the federal government should be sensitive and they should read the room. Yeah. Security-wise, other things, productivity-wise, we should make our schools opened and let them keep running. That's the best way.
Thank you, Lade Jalabi,
it's always
for your time and your take. You have a productive day.
You too.
And this is where we take a pause right now. When we come back, we will be speaking to the issues, and especially the killings of officers and men of the Nigerian Army in Delta State. We have different angles to this issue. Stay with us.
Thank you.
All right, thank you for being here with us on Morning Spring, where we talk about very critical and deep matters affecting the public. This morning, we told you earlier that it will be about those slain gallant men and officers of the Nigerian Army who were only attending to a distress call, of a situation between two communities, Okwama and Ohiolei, in Ohiolei South local government of Delta State. They were called and they swung into action. 16 of them, commanding officer who is a colonel, 2 army captains and officers of the Nigerian Army, and they were surrounded by some criminals, ambushed and killed, and their bodies mutilated, and the outrage have not ceased since then. We learned it happened on Thursday night last week, and then that is what we are seeing right now. Who are they? Why did they do that? On the gallant officers of the Nigerian Army. To make sense of this for us, we are being joined by someone in the know. When I mean in the know, he has been a part of the system to the highest level, a major general in the Nigerian Army, retired right now. And by the way, he was in charge of the defense information at the defense headquarters. I'm talking about Major General Chris Olukolade, retired. Thank you for joining us, and good morning, sir.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the privilege. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. And by the way, a little bird just told me that today is your birthday. Happy birthday to you, sir.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And so we are very sorry for pulling you out of the celebration to come and attend to this, but we're talking about national matters here. So thank you very much. 16 men and officers were gruesomely murdered, and we learned they were only attending to a distress call between 2 warring communities in Ohiolei South local government. They were attacked, killed, their body, gruesomely handled, and then since then, many persons, many well-meaning Nigerians have condemned the action. The defense headquarters, the Nigerian Army, the president, the GCFR himself, the CNC have said, please go ahead, I'll give you my full backing and authority to find out the perpetrators of this heinous crime. Give us, you have been in the system to the highest level before, General. Why did you think this happened?
Well, this is an unfortunate incident indeed, and the reaction or responses from Nigerians and well-meaning people all over the world is encouraging. What I mean by reaction is that the way the incident has been taken, in the sense that it now exposes the level of insensitivity and cruelty that could be meted to people on the line of duty, and that the world will not take it kindly. And it is good that we trace and follow it to a logical conclusion. The encouragement from Mr. President should be very, interesting. And let's see how things unfold. Let's believe that somehow the perpetrators of this dastardly act will be brought to justice somehow.
Quickly, the manner the officers, and I'm sorry to paint these pictures of these gallant officers, having a commanding officer who is a colonel in that particular troop, captains and then officers. Some of the pictures have been displayed on our screen right now. The manner these officers and soldiers and their bodies were dealt with, this kind of attack, General, that will neutralize this kind of troop. It appears that it is not just the one that could have been done by just a group of thugs or just persons, civilians that are just idle or angry. It looks like this is an organized one, because you expect that the army, 16 of them going on that troop, at least they will have guns with them, at least they will have some armor with them, for them to be attacked and none of them escape. It looks like it's an organized one, isn't it?
You are very correct. This is definitely a well-planned and a well-managed ambush. And it's unfortunate that the complexity of the security situation in that area is getting this far. But I think it opens our eyes to see the desperation of the security situation in the country generally. I believe that the officers believed they were also on a peace mission, but this, the way it turned out, has escalated the matter, and I believe that subsequently there will be more serious actions to handle the situation in the environment.
All right, General. So if you believe that it is a well-organized ambush, a well-organized attack, then do you think the blame should be put on the youths of this community, because they have actually been said to be the ones fueling this attack? And we are not even saying some youths, in bracket, people have already said it's the youth of this community, or Kwama community, that have caused this dastardly act on the officers of, army. So I just wanted to know if you think there is more to this when it comes to an organized militant group behind this, instead of just saying it's the community youths.
There's every indication that the people who...
Are you with us, sir? All right. I think we are disconnected.
Mercenaries.
Okay.
And that's an insight into, like I said, the complexity of the security situation. We can no longer take this to just be an action.
Okay, we'll try and work on that connection. By the way, since the situation that happened, the attack on the cables, and they see it happened last week, internet disruptions have been frequent in Nigeria. But then we'll try and connect the birthday boy back. By the way, General, are you with us now?
I'm still with you.
Okay.
It's only I don't know if you got what I said last.
Please, you might want to repeat.
All right.
Please go ahead and land on your thought.
All right.
This is challenging.
Ambush, a well-planned ambush by very likely mercenaries and people who are versed in both guerrilla warfare and terrorism.
Okay, we'll really take our time to work on that. Let's go on this break. We'll be back. It's the Morning Spring on Western Spring Television. Please stay with us. All right, thank you for joining us. We still have General Olukolade with us here, and he has been laying his thought to the matter of discussion, the attack, gruesome attack on the men and officers of the Nigerian Army. And we are being joined by Mr. Deyemi Saka. He is an intelligence analyst and he is a strategist. Mr. Saka, thank you for joining us.
Yeah, it's nice to be here, and allow me to greet the general. Morning this morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you so much. It's good to meet you here again.
Thank you, sir.
All right, that's right. Mr. Saka, please hold on. The general was going to land on his thoughts. You are talking about maybe some mercenaries were involved in this. Please go on with your thoughts, sir.
Yes, I was saying that this gives us an indication of the complexity of the situation in that area. I believe that subsequent operations in that area will take this into consideration. But we can no longer take the activities of so-called misguided youths in that area for a joke. And it is unfortunate that we came this far. Everybody will be watching how it unfolds.
It's quite a very bad one, by the way. Earlier, when we started the program, we send our condolence from all of us on this table on the Morning Spring from all of us at Western Spring Television, nobody deserves to be attacked and killed in that manner. So, you know, our thoughts and prayers are with the Nigerian army and with the families of these people that have been killed. Now, still talking to General, before my colleague will take over now, the kind of attack, because this was supposed to be a peace pact, it was supposed to be a mediation within two warring communities. Like, okay, a distress call was made and they swung into action, and then they met, you know, these people who attacked and killed them. We learned, you know, we are not trying to paint a grim picture here, that some of their heads were cut off, some of them were disemboweled. And with that kind of attack on them, General, is there a message you think those attackers are passing?
I think I just got you partially, but I will respond to the much I got.
Oh, okay. Maybe I should
from the description.
Yeah, so that you get it correctly. I mean, the gruesomeness, if I mean, the savage manner in which these men and officers were attacked. We learned some of their heads were cut off, some of them was disemboweled. Does it mean that there is a message they are sending? Because that's not just an attack. General, you can please go ahead if you heard my question.
Yeah, I will agree with you to some extent. Can I go on?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I say, yeah, we agree with you to some extent, particularly for the fact that most of the activities of the so-called boys in that area have always indicated some level of fetish input, and not just fetish input. There is likely input of some cultist activities in this. So working in concert with whoever they hire to help them do the kind of gruesome ambush, maybe after seeing the success, they then decided to introduce their own dimension of wanting to prove one point or the other, which I relate to fetishism and cultist activities. So this is also another dimension of the complexity of the approach to this issue in that area. And like I said, this should be taken into consideration in subsequent actions in that area.
All right, we switch to Mr. Deyemi Saka at this time. Mr. Saka, are you still with us?
Very much with you.
Firstly, I'd like
guys,
to...
very much with you.
Thank you for joining us. I'd like to firstly get your impression about what happened, what went down in Ohiolei South local government, you know, last week. Talk about the gruesome murder of our soldiers, our gallant soldiers. When you heard the news, your first thoughts on it?
Well, it's a sad one for me. It was a sad one. It's a sad one for the nation. It's so you probably want to ask yourself, when and how did we descend to this level of barbarism? That cannot be excused. It cannot be defended. It cannot be justified under any guise. I pray and I desire a prompt, and not just a prompt, a strong response from the Nigerian military. We can't keep on slaughtering our men like this. The last time I checked, to train a cadet in the NDA, that was, I think General will correct me because he probably have an upgraded data. To train a cadet as early as 2007, 2008 successfully at the NDA for DSSMC will cost the nation nothing less than 1 to 3 million. Now with the rising cost of everything, you're probably telling us to train a cadet to become a commissioned officer. It will cost us like 5 million now if you look at training materials and what have you. Now, look at the numbers of our commissioned officers lost. These people have gone on courses, junior, deep, senior, courses and promotional courses. The trainings and expertise with Nigerian invested into them is lost because of some community embrace of insanity. And we can't go on like this. And I think people should, if people don't go back into history, exactly the same that happened in OD. Same thing happened in Jukun, the same thing triggered the Jukun crisis. And you know, people come out in future and start demanding justice, accusing the government of extrajudicial killings and what have you. But But there's no way you can allow, whether we like it or not. General said is suspects fetishism, ritualism of what have ritualistic activities. But what if that's a colony of cannibals? What if you're looking at cannibalism as well? You can't allow such a region that's proven to be filled with cannibals and barbarians to exist in modern day society where we place premium importance on human lives. We can't allow it to exist. Well, in any way, under any guise, or in any form, they must be brought to justice. And speedily. And if you want us to look at what might be the motive, I think there's a need for, you see, and this goes to the political class. In every build up to every election, as every election cycle, we should be careful how we embrace or how we indulge and how we associate with criminal elements and non-state actors that have track records of being what have you. This might just be, I might stand to be corrected, but this might just be a launch pad for them to start the Niger Delta agitation all over again. It might just be a launch pad, it might just be an excuse, it might just be it might just be a small screen for them to, it might just be a distraction.
Please allow me to butt in here, Mr. Saka. Are you polarizing the entire community as being bad? Because some people have come out to say that there are some bad apples in this community and we cannot term the entire community to be bad. If you go on social media, people are calling for the entire community to be leveled down, like what we had in OG. But then, humanly speaking, there are still some people there, women and children, not just youths, that occupy the community. So if we are calling for the community to be, thrashed out, then what happens to these women and children? And the innocent ones? Then?
Now, there's this saying, and I'll tell you this. Just as the military and security agencies rely on human to succeed, human is human intelligence. The criminal elements too rely on humans too to succeed as well and to successfully carry out the operations. For those guys in the community to successfully carry out this operation means they have the collaboration, the support, either the frontal, the tacit, or the covert or overt support of the community. Because if they don't, the community would have reported them to security agencies well before now. If they don't, they would have told the security agencies their plans and what they intend to do. But it seems in the absence of that, it shows that the community is totally, wholesomely in bed with these criminal elements. It cannot be excused. It is saying in you that it's the thief at home that invites the house. I'll do some translating. It's a thief in the house that invites the external thief to come rob. So that's just the truth. So there's no way. Because if the community, the leadership of the community, if the elders of the community, if the majority of the community believes that the activities of these people is bad, and they know of the bad intent, they would have probably tipped off the security agencies. But in the absence of, there's so much in bed with these guys, and they lay their bed with us, they should bleed in it.
All right, Mr. Saka, now, we are hearing of a report by the Okwama people saying that they did not kill the soldiers. And I also have a letter here written to the governor of Delta State, Sheriff Oborowori. That's on the 2nd of February. The 2nd of February, reporting the unwarranted deadly attack on Okwama community, Ewu Kingdom in Ohiolei South local government area by Okoloba community and all of that. So these are people that have always come out to speak to the issues. They term themselves as a very peaceful community, and in that particular letter, they called it, or they tagged it, a clarion call and demand for justice to forestall total breakdown of law and order. So you would say that these are people that wants to talk, that wants to negotiate, that are peaceful. So if you're calling for a total thrashing of this community, what do you say to these issues?
Well, I think we should understand something, that in warfare, either urban or conventional war, there's the propaganda and deliberate misinformation and disinformation. is a key, is a tool, a very, very potent tool what in ongoing, campaigns and what have you. I'm not trying to discountenance or discredit the correspondence that they sent to the governor, but what if it's a deliberate thing to just maybe what if it's diversionary antics? I think before if I think okay, in a bit to sound cautious, we probably will demand a thorough investigation and to get this out. I trust the intelligence departments of the Nigerian military, irrespective of what the military has become in the last 10, 15 years. They will do a thorough job and they probably will get to the roots of the matter and know if it was the opposing community that did this to set the other community up. But for people saying that the soldiers were not killed, I'm wondering, is it predators that came and slaughtered those guys?
All right. We'll go back. Please hang in there, Mr. Saka. Go back to the general. Are you still with us, General Olukolade?
Yeah, I'm still with you.
All right. Thank you. And I want to ask this question. How do you think the Nigerian army, the military, should approach this matter? The defense headquarters have spoken to say we will investigate the matter. The CNC, that's President Tinubu, has said, I give you my full authority to go all the way and apprehend these perpetrators. But then, General, you remember, Zaki Biam, readily comes to mind. The situation at OD at the time comes to mind. The Jukumbeno situation comes to mind. I'm talking about the reprisal attack, because even me, as a civilian, I'm finding it hard to contain my emotions, seeing how these things have happened. But many persons are calling for caution. But then many generals, the old boys, are speaking on the matter, and they are pained. We are pained as well. How could we lost, our men and officers in this manner? It was not even a war situation. But then you have sat at security meetings at the highest level in the past. How do you think the Nigerian military, the Nigerian army, should approach this matter so that we don't have another Zaki Biam, we don't have another OD loading in our hands? General.
Well, thank you. First of all, let me commend the input of Mr. Saka so far. It's a good insight, and I think it should be educative, enough for us to understand the circumstance and the way it should be reacted to. I can assure you and the Nigerian public that the Nigerian military is far well trained enough to understand the limitations in managing a situation such as this. We understand the impulse of the laws of armed conflict, and be assured that the fear, the concerns that there might be some reprisal, and the first way is not even to be taken as a reprisal, is a continuation of the operation to manage the security situation in that environment. So everything done, I believe the military will handle it in the most clinical way, and you can be sure that, as mandated by Mr. President, they will be brought to justice, and that's what is important in this matter. There's not going to be some crude action that might lead to, although naturally we know that sympathizers of criminals of this nature will be generating issues such as human rights abuse. What I know about the Nigerian military is that the approach to managing this matter will be professional.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be as crude as imagined.
All right. General, we understand you have to go, and we completely agree. But just in 30 seconds, what does this do to the morale of the boys on the ground? Because just like I said, I think this is the first time in recent time that the Nigerian army is having the support, the majority of the support of the people, the support of the majority rather, to say no, this action stands condemned. What does this do to the morale of the boys? Because this is bad.
Well, there are two dimensions. The incident itself is a big bad blow on the morale of gentlemen in the armed forces. But I also say that the reaction right from Mr. President to citizens has been a kind of lift in the sense that people now know, oh, all right, Nigerians know the kind of hazards we face when we have to face criminals. And it appears that the Nigerians now understand the limitations and the situation the armed forces and their security colleagues are facing, trying to bring peace to the nation. So that in itself is a boost that might be some recovery on the initial shock and the unfortunate pain this will have brought to the morale of gentlemen.
Yeah.
However, I think the Nigerians and the well-meaning people all over the world should sustain this, even in generally assessing both military operations and the activities of the military generally. I think the whole thing is oscillating between these two, from very low morale to improving morale, and the reaction so far has been encouraging.
All right, thank you so much, General Chris Olukolade, for your time this morning and your take, and we appreciate your time. I mean, sparing us some minutes out of your big day. You know, it means a lot to us, and hearty congratulations.
Happy birthday,
on the occasion of your birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Thank you. I appreciate this contribution to my celebrations. Have a pleasant day. I wish all the staff of the Wellspring Television very good day and subsequent activities. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much. All right, and that leaves us with Mr. Deyemi Saka at this time. Are you still with us, Mr. Saka?
Very much, my madam and sir.
All right, I'm sure you must have seen and read the statement by the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, on this attack. And, you know, he has actually directed that this issue should be investigated and that the army has its full support, you know, on the probe. But then people have, you know, asked about what the president, all right? We'll come back to Mr. Saka. We are having some audio disruptions there. All right, so we'll definitely come back to Mr. Saka when we have him fully on board. You know, I was just about to ask him about the, you know, statement by Mr. President, and people have come out to focus on what he did not say rather than what he said, you know, there. So we will... Mr. Saka, are you still with us?
Very much on ground.
All right, thank you so much. So I was speaking about the statement by Mr. President. You know, just to read part of that statement, it says that, now the latter part of that statement, it says the Defense Headquarters and Chief of Defense Staff have been granted full authority to bring to justice anybody found to have been responsible for this unconscionable crime against the Nigerian people. My government will not relent until we have achieved peace and tranquility in every part of Nigeria. But people have paid attention to what Mr. President did not say rather than what he said, because some people thought he should have spoken on the reprisal attacks that happened in Delta State, probably called the army to caution and tell them to exercise patience and investigate this issue, this matter, you know, before taking action. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I probably will not see it as a reprisal attack. I would see it more as a mock-up activity and a response to what is happening. And why do I say that? After such attack on its personnel, you expect the military to go on what is called a rescue mission. If anybody is still out there, if there's any survivor out there, and you can't expect them to go with sticks and, you know, flutes and whistles. They're probably going to go with their full gears and what have you. And they're not going to go there with the mindset of praise and worship, with no disrespect to any religion. They are going to go there with combat ready, and anything in their way, especially because they're stepping into an hostile ground, will be considered an enemy, whether you like it or not, be it a child, be it a woman, be it... You see, people should, we should get a bit of education when it comes to military engagement, rules of engagement, and what have you. In the military rules of engagement, it is believed that you should not harm women and children. But once a woman and a child is armed, it's no more considered as a woman and child. It's considered a hostile enemy that can kill you. So as a soldier, you train to survive and to defend the territorial integrity of your country from aggressors within, external and within. So,
but do you think this actually warrants them destroying houses, burning down houses, you know, demolishing houses of people that we cannot categorically call the criminals of this act.
And we cannot categorically say they are not criminals or the execution of this act as well. You probably, I don't believe, and I'm not saying this because of affinity or sympathy or relationship with the military. I'm saying this as somebody that has an idea of military engagement. There's something called this Code approach, and in a military operation like this, that is what you embrace and you adopt. You don't leave a headless lick. It's dangerous.
All right.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
And for what you and in addition, be quickly, rampaging or going through those ransacking, going boots and doors, people's houses. You probably they want to know and probably to find out if none of their colleagues or officers or are being held hostage. And you cannot knock on the door to do that. You have to go with full force to get these things out.
So how about the collateral damage? Because one will say, this is Zakibiam, OD, loading in our hands again, and it's preventable.
Yeah, it's always easy for us to talk and start our conversation from the reaction, but we should start from the action. If the communities were so sensible enough and they are good students of history, would have avoided such things because they would have said there's Zakibiam, there's OD. The beauty about it is in the last, from 1999 till date, we've had a military that now has a civil military department that engenders relationship between the military and the civilians. And we've had an armed forces that have evolved over time to now subject itself to democratic rule and dictating democracy. At the same time, functioning under the rules that covers them, the martial law, in a democracy. And we should credit them for always finding a way to strike the balance between their martial law and democratic laws. And another thing I would like people to know, an average soldier, once is deployed out of the barracks, is not deployed to go on a jamboree. He's been trained that when you are deployed, you are going there to use extreme measures and extreme force. So we should understand that based on their training, based on how they are wired. We are wired differently. That's what's been our excuse as individuals. But we should appreciate the way they are wired differently too.
All right.
They are not police. Yeah. If this has been done by the Nigerian police, we should question it because their training has given them a reason to always interface with the public.
All right.
But this is the military.
Yeah, Mr. Saka, two quick questions because we're pressed for time. First of all, the first one is the Defense Headquarters and the Nigerian Army has confirmed that the weapons of these slain officers and soldiers are missing, and they should and they will be recovered. And so many persons will say maybe that's what explains the coming back of some boys of the Nigerian Army while they are burning, because there are insinuations, there are allegations now, and there are videos to say the boys are back, they are burning, they are raising houses. So are you saying the Nigerian Army, the Nigerian military should go full throttle? If they have to burn, burn. If they have to shoot, shoot, to make sure those weapons are recovered, because it's dangerous again. This is like arming the criminals if those weapons are not retrieved. That's number one. Number two, one will want to say at this time that this thing has happened. I asked the general the other time, what happens to the morale of the boys?
Well, I'll start with the morale. The mood at the cantonment where those soldiers were mobilized, it was probably going to be a very, very bad one. You probably will see wives of officers, the army officers' wives or what have you, paying condolence visits. Kids will be shattered, homes will be destroyed. You can get the mood. People that have relationships, their colleagues are dead. The senior officer that pampers them, that they love so much, is gone and was killed in such gruesome manner. So you probably expect a a cocktail of emotions. Some are agitated, baying for blood. Some are just broken in respect of their training. Some homes would never recover. And it's like that. So the mood it's going to be a very diphoric one, and it's going to be a dystopia-like situation on the barracks. But away from that, to moving forward, you probably want to ask yourself, in the military, it is believed that once a bullet is unaccounted for, it's capable for you to commit an act of treason. Now I talk of like 10, 15 rifles, uniforms and insignias and what have you, and line, get into the hands of criminal elements. You probably would know what those guys would do with such assault rifles and service pistols and in everything. And we're battling, we have serious issues with light arms and firearms getting to the country. That's what has made life unbearable for Nigerians. That's what has made our elections not democratic enough as it should be. So for me, I think they have to go all out to retrieve these weapons, because if these weapons are not retrieved, in future, you probably will be saying, yes, there might be a crime committed, and by the time forensic reports or audits or whatever is coming out, and by ballistic forensic, you'll probably be hearing, yeah, it's the Nigerian soldier that went to kill this community because, the serial number and everything bears the Nigerian army or Nigerian military. So in all, they should retrieve these weapons and get it back. Everything should be accounted for, from weapons to bullets to dog tags. Dog tags is what is also known as name tags and everything. Even the uniforms should be accounted for.
All right, Mr. Saka. Now let's talk about the Delta State government, their reaction to this particular incident, and even pre this incident, because, like I said earlier, there were correspondences sent to the state governor, and also some sent to the Delta State Police Command, the Commissioner of Police there. But it seems nothing was done before this, incident, this sad incident occurred. And after the sad incident, people also said the reaction of the state government to the issue was not one that was good enough. I'd like your thoughts on that.
Sometimes these are sad incidents that brings to fore how our public office holder goes and become irresponsible because of politics and politicking, where every issue is viewed from the lens, of politics and placed under the lens of politics. You would have expected any right-thinking governor to have, that believes and upholds his job, especially as spelled out in Section 12, subsection B of the Constitution, that the well-being of the society, protection of the well-being of the society is the responsibility of the government, the sole responsibility of the government. I'm not quoting that in verbatim, but that's what it means. As a governor, what you ought to have done at your own level, where you have the security meeting and what have you, based on such correspondence, you should have acted on it. You should have called the two warring factions to the table. You should have made them give you their words that nothing will happen. That would have forestalled what happened some few days ago. Again, what you could have done, and when this happened, as a governor, should have declared a state of emergency. And should have assisted the police, because the kind of state of emergency gives the police and the military, the right to come off and and cycle on, probably close up that community to apprehend or make it difficult for these guys to move away after committing the gruesome act.
All right.
So that is why I think they are for the response of the governor. You can't just be going back and forth. You should be strong. You should be tough. You shouldn't approach every issues with what was it called? With politics or political sentiment.
All right, Mr. Saka, possibly the last one for this morning. The commanding officer, by the way, I think the name is Ohiolei, a colonel. Many persons who knew him said he was one of the finest, like it was in the ilk of the late, Colonel Abu Ali, that was very popular, very dutiful, that was slain at the northeast. And this is another Ali that has been slain. That was the commanding officer. Now, my question is, when we are losing our men this way, you know, it's easy, just like we have said, that when issues happen and there are not actions by the Nigerian military, by the security architecture, is we, you know, the people that be complaining. Why is the response time slow? Why are they not going against the attackers? Why are they not mediating in issues? And this is what they have done. And then, you know, the rest is history. So why are we losing them this way? And I'm asking from this angle that this speaks, that's the thought of many, that this speaks to the overstretching of the Nigerian military. That why should they be the one that will intervene in this manner? That it speaks to the failure of the, you know, possibly inadequacy of the Nigerian police, that if these things were to be on a normal day with a functioning society, the Nigerian mobile police force should have been the one to come into the area. Maybe they have the civil approach that they will have brought into the situation, but then this speaks to the overstretching of our Nigerian army, and this is what we are seeing, and they have lost these fine gentlemen in the line of service needlessly. What's your take on that? You agree?
I agree, and it's not just about the Nigerian police being overstretched or undermanned. We have, even as a military, we are undermanned. I think the last time I checked, we had over 100 and something thousand. With recent recruitment and what have you, it's just over 300,000, and that's still a far cry from what we need. Whether we like it or not, we need at least 500,000 ground troops, standing force, and you need like another 300,000 reserves and what have you. The Nigerian police, we need at least 1.2 million police officers across the country. These are security issues, and these are things that we believe state police would have addressed. And if it had been an era of state police, it would have been difficult for these guys to slaughter their kinsmen, because they'll be killing their brothers, they'll be killing their cousins and what have you. But because it's still a federal police, and because it's still it's a sad one that we are losing our men like this, and whether we like it or not, that it's just like I said, a part of me still want to believe that this is a smoke screen for a bigger operation or a bigger criminal enterprise that will start from that region. For sake of, you know, sustenance and, you know, not to run foul of extant laws of our land, for the sake of not, you know, sounding off alarm bells and saying to be against the national security and what have you. I would never say some things. But to some of us that have been toying around with some ideas and intelligence analysis, I think there's a call for Mr. President to really sit tight and know that the next 4 years will not be easy for him. It's not just going to be Delta, it's going to be, they should be expecting more theaters to have theaters of insecurity. And the NSA should please, for once, become a national security advisor, bothered and serious about national security and not politics. With that, we can have a way out of it. Without that, we're probably going to sink deeper and deeper into crisis.
Thank you so much, Mr. Deyemi Saka, for your submission this morning. It's always, you know, great to have you on the show any day, anytime. Thank you for your time this morning. We wish you a very great and productive day ahead.
Thank you so much. It's nice to be here. And my regards to the general, I say happy birthday as well.
All right. Thank you so much. That was Mr. Deyemi Saka. He is a public affairs analyst, intelligence expert, and a PR consultant. Earlier, we had a conversation with the birthday boy, General Chris Olukolade, retired Major General of the Nigerian Army and former Director Defense Information, on the happenings in Delta State, the gruesome murder of our gallant soldiers. And of course, the issue is not about to die down. We will definitely have more development on this issue, but we hope that peace can return to that local government, and whatever it is the government or the Nigerian Army will be doing, you know, they consider people that are innocent. My take on this issue.
And in the middle of all these challenges, Nigeria will survive.
Yes.
We will survive. We will prosper. And once again, our thoughts and prayers are with the families, those that have been slain in the line of duty. You pay the ultimate price, the Nigerian Army and the military as well. Femi Ojo is my name. It's too well to do whatever you have to do to make people better around you. See you tomorrow.
And I'm Evelyn Ohiolei, and sure to stay tuned for Spring Trends coming right after this broadcast.